So concept of OOPS in Python, object oriented programming environment. There are two types of paradigm: POP, procedure oriented programming environment, and OOP, object oriented. C is procedure oriented programming language, C++, Java, Python, or object oriented programming languages. We'll see some basic notations of OOPS concepts. The first one is class. A class is basically a user defined data type. So it is a logical entity which has some attributes and methods. If employee is your class, name, age, salary, email ID, and they are all attributes. Read the data, write and calculate the net salary are the methods. So look at the basic syntax: class followed by class name, colon, and we can have any number of statements, and you need to follow the indentation rules. So object is basically a class variable. Animal is a class, then dog, cat, etc., they are all called objects. The existence of any particular class comes into picture once we create the object. So any object is nothing but a class variable. Instance of a class is an object. All the functions have a built-in attribute which returns a dog string defined in the function source code. So look at this example: class CAR, and we have parameters. The first one is a self parameter, and the second one model name and year. And we have another definition, another function, display, self dot model name and self dot year. So that is your class definition, and you are creating the object. C1 is equal to CAR and Toyota, 2016. Here C1 is your object. To access the methods of any class, you need to use the object C1 dot display. So we have a class name called car with two attributes, model name and year, and we have created an object C1. The method is a function, and that is associated with an object. Inheritance, the most important aspect of object-oriented programming environment. Creating a new class from the existing class. Creating a new class from an existing class is called inheritance. I have a class A and class B. B is created from A. So B gets the properties of A. From A, B is created. So A is parent class and B is child class. A is super class, B is subclass. A is base class and B is derived class. The child class will get the properties of parent class. The reusability of code. We will be discussing all these things in coming sessions in detail along with examples. So polymorphism, many forms. Polymorphism is nothing but many forms. So you have a class animal, and all animals speak, but they speak differently. So here the speak is the behavior of and it depends on animal. Encapsulation. The data and their associated methods are tied together as a single unit. The data and their associated methods are wrapped together as a single unit is encapsulation. Data abstraction. Data abstraction hides the internal details. We don't know exactly what is happening in the background. If you go to an ATM counter, we don't know exactly what is happening inside. And we are concerned with the foreground transactions, how to operate the machine, and which button is to be pressed, and which one next, which one first. So hiding the internal details, hiding the background details is data abstraction. So we'll see some few differences between OOP and POP. So procedure oriented programming uses a list of instructions to do the things step by step. We focus on functions, we focus on methods in procedural programming. In object oriented programming environment, we completely focus on data. Here everything is in the form of objects only, and it is very easy for development and maintenance in OOP when you compare with POP, and it simulates a real world entity. All the real world problems can easily be solved. And we have data hiding. That is the most essential part of object oriented programming. Data can be hidden. You can hide the data so that it is no longer available to the outside world. So we don't have any such notations in POP. C, Fortran, Pascal are procedural languages, whereas C++, Java, Python and etc. they are all object oriented programming languages. So how do you create a class? Class followed by class name and colon. We have the keyword class. Each class is associated with a documentation string which can be accessed by using class name and DOC. So we can have fields, we can have functions, we can have anything inside the class definition. So look at this example. The name of the class is employee, and we have two attributes, two fields, employee ID and name, and we have a method that is a function display to display the information of the employee. For all the transactions, we are using the self as a reference variable which refers to the current class object, and it is always the first argument in function definition. In any function definition, it is the first argument, and self is optional during the function call. Look at the print statement here, self.id and self.name. The self parameter always refers to the current instance of the class, current occurrence of the class. How do you create an object? Object name is equal to class name within brackets arguments. As I told you earlier, the existence of any particular class comes into picture once we create an object, once we instantiate it. Instantiation is nothing but creation. So look at the class definition again. EMP is equal to employee. Here EMP is your object. EMP.display is your method call, function call. So we have created an employee class with two attributes, ID and name, and assigned some values to them, and we have passed the self parameter in display, and without that we cannot call the attributes, we cannot call the fields self.id and self.name. So we have created object EMP and the function display is called object name dot function name. So we can delete the properties of the object by using del. So look at the class name employee, ID 10 and name John, and we have display as usual, and we have created an object EMP. So whenever you want to delete any particular attribute or field or property of the object, look at del emp.id. You can delete the entire object itself using del followed by object name EMP. And after del, check out what happens if you make a call to emp.display. So you will get an error as we have already deleted the object EMP. So what is constructor? Constructor is a special member function or a special method or a special function in programming environments, programming environments like C++, Java and Python. The constructor is used to initialize the object. In C++ and Java, the class name and the constructor name must be the same. The constructor does not return anything, not even void in C++ and Java. So we have two types of constructors, parameterized constructors and non-parameterized constructors. In Python it's different. We use the method init. This method is called when the class is initiated. The constructor will be called automatically once we create the object. There is no need of making any explicit call to the constructor. It will be called automatically once the class is instantiated, means object is created, and it accepts the self keyword as a first argument. We can pass any number of arguments at the time of creating the class object. So every class must have a constructor. So look at this example, class employee, and we have a constructor with the first argument as self and name and ID. We have display. Look at the objects clearly, even EMP1 and EMP2. At the time of object creation itself, you are initializing it. You are initializing with John and 101. John is passed to name and 101 is passed to ID. EMP2, David is passed to name and 102 is passed to ID. You need to observe few things here. So display is not the constructor here. Display is a normal method, normal function. So if it is a normal function, you need to call it with the help of object, whereas constructor will be called automatically once the object is created. The base definition is it is to initialize the object. See, we are initializing EMP1 and EMP2 with two values. And remember, always the constructor takes self as a first argument, and whenever you want to access the attributes of any particular class, you need to do it with the help of self dot ID and self dot name. Look at this example. As I told you, the constructor is called automatically when we create the object. Consider the demonstration program for that. Class name student and count is equal to 0. We have a constructor. Student dot count is equal to student dot count plus 1. So what is inside the constructor? Inside the constructor definition, we have only one statement. Student dot count is equal to student dot count plus 1. We have created three objects, S1, S2, S3. Whenever the object is created, the control will be transferred to the constructor definition, and what is happening in constructor definition? The count is incremented by 1. So this is a demonstration program. Once we create the object, automatically control will be transferred to the constructor definition. So here we use this count is equal to count plus 1. 3 objects created, count is incremented 3 times. So that the number of students is 3. So we can even have a non-parameterized constructor. We don't want to manipulate the values. So in those occasions we use only the self as an argument. Look at the simple example here. Class name student, we have constructor. Look at parenthesis, we have only self, and we are just a print statement, something like hello, hi, and we have show, a normal function show, and object is created, student dot show of John. So parameterized constructor, we have multiple parameters along with self. Now look at this example, we have self dot name in the constructor definition, and self dot name is equal to name, and the object is created, student. Try to observe the difference between a class name student and object name student. In class name student, S is capital letter. So while practicing with these type of things, you make it, let it be some X and Y, and practice. So we have default constructor. It means if any constructor is not included in the class definition, automatically the default constructor will come into picture. It does not perform any task. Now look at this simple example. Class student, and DEF displays self, and self dot role and self dot name. So we can have more than one constructor in any particular class definition. Look at this clearly. Look at the output. Here ST is your object. The object ST is called the second constructor, whereas both have the same configuration. The first method is not accessible by ST object. We'll try always for the last constructor if you have multiple constructors. And constructor overloading is not allowed in Python. So we have various methods to access the attribute: get, set, and delete, and has. We'll see one by one with an example program. So class name student, and we have one constructor with attributes name, id, age, and object is created as. Look at the get attribute. So get attribute s comma name, set attribute age comma 23, and get attribute s comma age. So just observe the input data at the time of object creation, and we used set attribute to change the values. So has attribute, it verifies whether it attribute is there or not, and delete attribute, we can delete the attribute. After deleting the attribute, you are trying to use the print. So you get an error, attribute error, because at this point of time we created, we deleted the delete attribute, age is deleted. So the object has no attribute age. So we have built-in class attributes, dictionary, documentation, name, module, and faces. We'll see the things using some examples. So look at this example. Class name is student, and we have one constructor, and we have method display details. Look at the print statements clearly. The way how we used DOC and DICT and module, and observe the output.